Hello, it's Jang here with a look at the Mega Bloks Call of Duty Legends battle tank set. This comes with 528 pieces. The M4 Sherman tank is one of the most recognizable war machines in history, I think, but the M4 Sherman tank is not a thing. It is a whole family of things. There were many variants of the M4 Sherman tanks, and before starting up this video I tried to figure out which variant this is supposed to be. And it drove me kind of crazy trying to figure it out because there are a number of things that clash here, and I'm sure that major historians, war historians, would be able to point out a bunch of things that don't make sense here. Overall, I think this is a really good looking model. I think a lot of things about it are done very well, especially the front of the hull, the drive sprocket or sprockets at the front, which actually do feed directly into the sides of the treads there. The treads were developed, I believe, specifically for this model. That's very nice. Doesn't use any stickers, so anything that has a pattern on it, the stars are actually printed pieces. I think the coloration is pretty nice. What I personally don't like here, as far as the look of it and the design, is just around the base of the turret. The piece that they used here just leaves too much space. I wish they had built up the sides higher, the sides of the main hull just higher, to try to hide that away if they needed to use that one piece right there, because all this space in here is very uncharacteristic. The turret should basically be sitting almost directly down on the top of the hull itself. And that's where some of the confusion comes in, I think, in terms of trying to figure out the variant here. This looks like it has the 17-pounder Firefly 76mm barrel on it, but the rest of the turret doesn't match the Firefly style. It's got the rounded turret style. I think that what makes the most sense here, just historically, is just to do that and then just call it an M4A4, 75mm barrel and done. But however you want to do that, those are small little details. I think anybody who's not a war historian would pretty readily recognize that this is just a Sherman, and it's just a very historic and noticeable and noteworthy thing. It does appear to have the longer wheelbase, given that it's got the longer distance between the bogies. Those bogies are not able to rotate around or anything. They're just single pieces that are placed over the sides. So you've got your small wheels here, which actually are able to turn independently. But these are just basically vanity pieces, which work just fine. I think they look good. I think the wheels themselves look good. You've got spots to attach some equipment on the outside for minifigures. You've got an actual case there. I'll actually take all that stuff off and show how that works together separately as well. Of course, the turret itself is able to spin around fully. That's key. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Probably don't want to grab it from the barrel. That being the case, just grab it from the turret. It's able to spin around, and you get able to get your elevation for the barrel itself. Works pretty well. Nice looking mantlet. I think that was done pretty well. Now let's get into some of the things that can actually be opened up on the model. First of all, you can open up the entire front section. This just hinges up, which exposes a single driver compartment. It's tough to do the scale. I think that the scale for the whole thing is actually quite good when you compare the size, at least the height, compared to the figures. Works out well, but it's just tough to fit them inside in a realistic way. And I think they did a good job here, given the parts that this thing is actually made of, to fit a figure nice and low and up front like that. I think makes sense. And this is also supposed to represent the front machine gun there. It just is able to turn around to be able to pose it a little bit. And then up top, you've got the turret hatch. And this is able to open up in a nice way. It doesn't just hinge open, it actually slides over like that. And there's enough room to set a figure down in there, so you can have him doing a little bit of sighting work, but you have to just kind of balance him in place. The little stand that they give for him, which is attached to the turret, I think doesn't work too well. And I'll show you a little bit more about that. I think there's a way to actually make that better without adding any of your own pieces, just changing one thing around. And then all of this equipment back here can be removed. They've got these rubber straps on there. I think the best thing to do is just pull out these tie down points. And just for play, I do recommend taking some of this stuff off because it really doesn't like to hold itself in place. This holds in place just fine. This can tend to fall out easily. These can tend to fall out easily because they're just kind of sitting there. And similarly, these stands that they have inside of here always slip out. But again, I'll show you what all this stuff does. It's actually pretty cool. But I wanted to get to another opening section here. I'm going to just take this off entirely as well. That is the engine compartment. And you can see you've got a couple hatches right there. You open that up to one side and to the other. And you know, a nicely little detailed engine in there. It actually has more parts than you can see here, and that's made with gunmetal color. It kind of stands out a little bit, but it's kind of looking like it's trying to be a V-bank style of engine. I don't know if it's supposed to represent the gas V8 engines, which wouldn't make sense for the longer chassis, but it's mostly detail for the sake of detail. I do appreciate that, even if it's not necessarily the most accurate, combination of the power plant and the specific variant of the tank. I still like being able to open that up, and it's an appreciated little section. If you want to change that up, it's also an easy to access area. You can pull the whole thing out as one and then change it out for customized smaller details. There's no access to this from the back. The next thing that you can do to get in there is to take off the entire turret. Now this is not the simplest thing. Well, it's not the easiest thing. It's kind of on there pretty hard, but can snap that off. It looks like it worked pretty well this time. There's plenty of room inside of the hull. You can actually put another figure inside of there. There's a clip on the side. You could add more of those if you have some extras, or you move them around from different parts to hold more of your figure weapons inside of there. But plenty of space to store things. I like that they didn't just fill it up. And this is one area that you may need to access from time to time if you use the driver's compartment, because getting the figure in there is just a little bit tricky. It's kind of a tight squeeze, and you may end up accidentally pushing the seat back down into here. So you need to get into this space to lift that back up. Now, I mentioned that the figures don't stand in the turret very well. It's because of this piece right here. See, there are no studs facing up, but I think if you just change the way that you attach this, instead of attaching it the way that they suggest and flip it around like this, then you get studs facing up, and you can put at least 1 foot, maybe not both of them, but 1 foot you can attach into there. So there, just with 1 foot, now he's just not falling over and he doesn't slide around. So I think that's an improvement. Now check out what you can do with all of this stuff here. It's a pretty nice little package that they set up that allows you to put these things together. This all rolls out. This is a really nice piece of fabric right here, synthetic fabric. That's going to fit right in there. Kind of lock those in place like that, and there you go. Got a little temporary shelter off to the side. Use this as a seat if you want to. Have some supplies in there, or that could be an extra fuel can or something like that. And there you go. Little temporary rest area that's camouflaged from above a little bit of protection. I like it. That's nice. So it also comes with pieces to make this little bit of bombed out structure, which looks quite derelict as it should. A little combination of different styles and colors of parts, and you can randomize those a little bit differently if you want to, and kind of change the overall shape here. But this is just an area that you can use for cover, and I think it makes for a good little piece of a diorama. Works really well with different figures, and it's good for combining with other scenes as well. The figures feature a number of different variations in color. Also notice the print on the helmet for the one in the center. You get the facial hair on the one on the left, and also a different helmet there, which is not a removable piece. That's all just pre-bonded together. Different colors for the kind of vest or strap pieces, which are fairly thin here. You do get one extra backpack in that same color as the one that you see there in the center that's included in the set. You get a different hip piece there on the character on the left, and I personally am not familiar with any of the named characters from the World War II Call of Duty games, so I don't know if any of these look very similar to any recognizable characters, but according to Mega Bloks, none of these are officially licensed named characters, so they could be anybody. And here are the weapons and extra accessories that are included that you can use with those figures. I personally really do like the look of most of this, and I especially appreciate the build. There are a lot of details, especially with how things fit together, how things can be interacted with the figures, that I think are done very nicely for this scale. The thing that really detracts from the model for me is just the lack of realism with the base of the turret. I really wish they had built up around that, just kind of created a neck. Again, even if they needed to use that one piece in order to have the space in the center for the pivot, I really wish there was more stuff just built up around it to kind of hide it, to make this look a little bit more like an actual M4. As far as historical accuracy is concerned, again, I think that some tank historians may have many fits over the specifics of design elements here, but I think you take off the end of the barrel and it helps quite a lot, and it's again mostly just the specific shape of the turret and or how that blends into the hull section that leaves some question marks. Let me know what your thoughts are about the tank and about the set on the whole by leaving a comment down below. Your feedback is always appreciated, and other viewers like to see that as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to have a chance to talk to you again very soon.